Yeah, I read a book a few years ago by an author by the name of Bill Bryson. Excellent author, excellent book. It was called In a Sunburned Country, and it was all about Bryson's adventure down under in Australia. He describes a somewhat wild, unpredictable, but beautiful place full of deadly dangers, but also bold, outgoing, and often quite fearless, freedom-loving people. Over the last few weeks, though, I've wondered what an updated version of that book might be, given recent events. Australia, as you may have heard, is in a full lockdown because of coronavirus. The measures it has taken are among the most extreme in the world, with the military being called in to enforce the rules in many of its cities, including in Sydney, which has had a total of 4 cases. Yes, 4. In a year, okay? 4 cases in a year, and the military shows up. In fact, the whole country of 25 million is experiencing a rolling average of 2 COVID deaths a day. 2 a day. Now, if I were to venture to do some math here, which is usually a mistake, by my calculations, a total of 0.000008% of the population is dying of COVID per day. And that is enough to justify a military-enforced lockdown. And all of this while Australia remains a country absolutely chock full of scary, deadly stuff that can kill you. There are more natural dangers in Australia than almost anywhere else on Earth, outside of maybe the Amazon rainforest. In fact, COVID has killed as many people this year in Australia as animal attacks typically kill in the same country. 266 people were killed by animals in Australia between 2008 and 2017, making about 25 or so a year. That's about how many have died from COVID this year in Australia. By the way, most of the animal deaths are from horses and cows, surprisingly, which means that it's not far from the truth to say that the average Australian should be about as afraid of livestock as he is of COVID. They might as well shut down the country and call in the military over a loose cow roaming the streets somewhere. But don't expect the authorities in charge of Australia to have this sense of proportion any more than the authorities in charge of the rest of the world have a sense of proportion. Here is the health chief of New South Wales, Dr. Kerry Chant, giving a masterclass in disproportionate responses. Watch this.
We all need to work together. We need to limit our movements. We need to consider whenever we leave our house that anyone with us, anyone we come into contact with could convey the virus. So whilst it is in human nature to engage in conversation with others, to be friendly, unfortunately, this is not the time to do that. So even if you run into your next door neighbour in the shopping centre, in the Coles, whilst you're at Coles or Woolworths or Aldi or any other grocery shop, don't start up a conversation. Now is the time for minimising your interactions with others. Even if you've got a mask, do not think that affords total protection. We want to be absolutely sure that as we go about our daily lives, we do not come into contact with anyone else that would pose a risk.
The virus is out there. Anyone can have it. Everyone is a threat. Everyone could kill you. Do not engage. Don't speak to anyone. Don't have conversations. A conversation could kill you. If your neighbor tries to say hello, shoot him in the face and then run and lock yourself in the basement. Your lives depend on it. Now, I listened to that, and you have to understand, I am actually in favor of banning small talk, okay? I'm in favor of sending in the military to stop people from having small talk conversations. I already do avoid having interactions with people. I already have adopted a policy of using lethal force on anyone who attempts to have a conversation with me. I already am unfriendly. I already am a fascist dictator. So this should all be music to my ears. In fact, I should be volunteering to go to Australia and use my expertise to help enforce these rules. But avoiding conversation due to a generally antisocial disposition is far different from avoiding it due to a suffocating fear that having a conversation will literally kill you. I can understand and endorse the former, not the latter. But the scariest thing here, as always, is not the insane rambling of Dr. Chant with the New South Wales Health Office. There have always been power-mad sociopaths in position of power. Inevitably, those are the kinds of people who typically seek positions of power. This is the case everywhere and for all time, which is why our system was not put in place to attract specially virtuous politicians. There is no such thing. But instead to protect us against the megalomaniacal idiots who would unavoidably end up in those positions. Unfortunately, That system hasn't been working as well in recent times. And in any case, that is not what scares me the most in this case. What scares me are all of the average people, however many millions of them, who do not see any problem with locking yourself away and avoiding all human contact, treating human beings as plague-carrying rodents for fear of a virus that has infected 4 people in your city in a year and killed none of them. Many millions in Australia and here and across the world have lost their ability to think rationally about this or most anything else. Talking to them feels very much like the conversations I have with my daughter when I've tried to convince her that there's no monster in the closet. I mean, her fear and her imagination override any rational analysis or investigation of the question, which is fine for an 8-year-old. I can literally open the closet and show her and say, look, see, there's nothing in here. Okay? Just mounds of clothes on the floor because you can't be bothered to hang them properly, as I've told you a million times. In fact, you know what? Maybe there are monsters under that mound of clothes. You know, yeah. Hang the clothes so that monsters don't hide under it. How about that? Anyway, we've gotten sidetracked. But the point is that children can be childish in that way, and that, again, is fine. It is not fine for grown adults. We live now in a world of adults cowering in fear because of the monsters in their closets, and all of those adults, especially the ones running Australia, are canceled. In fact, the whole country of Australia is canceled. If you people want to be afraid of something, be afraid of the spiders in your country. You have spiders literally raining from the sky, threatening to crawl into your ears and eat your brain. That's a rational fear. Focus on that instead. In the meantime, you're all canceled. Listen, hit that subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It is somewhat appreciated.